So we'll move through the moon salutations. The moon salutations, when we do them standing, although it's going to be similar seated in the chair, we flow through all the poses on one side and then on the other. And sometimes we go back again, sometimes not. So you can think of it as a half moon or a full moon, however you look at it. So there are a lot of variations on these. These are going to be a little different because they're in the chair. We'll start by a firm seated pose again, feet flat on the floor. So think of this as your standing mountain pose, Tadasana, yet in the chair. We're still trying to allow everything that's pushing down into the ground or the chair, so that would be our feet and our sits bones, to be firmly rooting down, and then the energy of that lifting everything that's going up, mainly the crown of our head, but also a tall, long spine. And then one moon breath, sweeping in, reaching the hands up and overhead. You can either just reach the fingertips up, or you can draw your palms together, fingers interlaced, index fingers pointed up. We'll do a side stretch. This is our seated crescent moon to either side. So take a breath in, and I'll mirror you as you exhale, side bend to your left. Keep both sits bones, so your opposite right sits bone stays seated in the chair. Inhale, reach back up through center. And then exhale in the opposite direction, going to your right. And rooting down and rising up. You can think of the rootedness of the earth and the rising up of the moon. Inhale through center and release your arms. So we start with the legs a little bit wider than hip width, or maybe a little bit wider than chair width, toes pointed out. We'll come into our seated goddess pose. So we already have the legs, the knees are approximately at 90-degree angles, and I'm going to take the arms, elbows up the same way, 90 degrees. And you'll see for all of these poses, it helps to be right toward the edge of your chair. If you're seated way back, it's going to be a little harder. So come and slide toward the edge of your chair if you're not there already. From goddess, we're going to take this into star, and that simply means we extend the legs, so toes can be up, heels on the ground, extend the arms. This is our star. Big, beautiful star on a moonlit night. And as you exhale, draw the hands down, draw the legs back in, and we'll move toward our seated triangle pose. So you'll turn your right foot so that the toes point toward the screen. Your left foot is going to be out, toes point away, and you can stay on your heel or you can ground your foot. That's a little bit more of an intense stretch, so I'm going to stay on my heel. You'll probably find that the leg needs to be a little bit in front of the hip rather than right out as you might be if you were doing this standing. It's going to be a little bit in front. And I'm going to sweep down my left arm, down my left leg, sweep my right arm up and overhead. So chair postures aren't necessarily easier. They might make you feel the stretch more deeply in a different way. Inhale, come back up. We'll do our chair pyramid pose. So I'm going to turn to this extended leg. I'm going to slide it out a little bit and come around so that my knee is pointing down toward the ground. Now it's mostly my left buttock that's seated on the chair, resting on the chair. This is kind of like a half split. I'm going to breathe in, bow over the extended leg. Your hands can stay supported in the chair. Maybe you have room to reach down toward the floor. Maybe they support on your top leg. Any of those options is fine. Exhale, come back up. And then finally on this side, we'll do a chair crescent lunge. So now that front foot comes flat, the back foot pretty much stays bent where it is. Arms sweep up and overhead, crescent lunge. If you'd like to take a little mini back bend into this, you can. You can always keep your hands at heart center. Maybe the back hand rests on the chair back. And then exhale, release. Turn your feet toward front. And we're going to crawl toward the center into a chair squat. So this is like our goddess pose, but now we're a little bent over into a squat position. You might be less bent over with your hands resting on your thighs or your knees, but hinged a little bit forward from your hips, back as long, chair squat. And then we'll repeat the poses to your right, going in reverse order. So we start to shift toward the right side, the back knee comes down, so it's pointed toward the floor, back toes are tucked under, front knee is bent for our chair crescent lunge. Take a breath in. If you like, sweep your arms up and overhead, perhaps a little bit of a mini back bend. And remember that your hands can stay at your hips. You can rest on the back of the chair for support. It can be half heart center, both hands. Exhale, lift back up. Sorry for that little crash. Back knee is going to stay down. Front leg is going to slide straight. And we'll do our chair pyramid. I think I'll just keep my hands on the chair for support as I slide, extend it over my front leg. Bit of a hamstring stretch. Exhale, come back up. And then our chair triangle. So front knee, or this was the back knee, your left knee points forward, foot points forward, the right leg comes extended over the side into chair triangle. I really like this feeling of my body in these chair poses. It just allows me to concentrate on different areas of my body stretching than I might do if I was standing. Inhale, come back up, and we'll finish in center with goddess pose. Back to star pose, extending the legs, extending the arms. Back to goddess. And then as you breathe in, reach the arms up overhead, draw the feet back in. So we're in our extended seated mountain. And then we'll finish with a lateral stretch to either side, this time bending to your right side first. Breathe in the side stretch. Feel length along the left side. Inhale, come back up. And then seated side stretch, or you can also call this seated crescent moon to the second side. Breathing in length. One more breath. And exhale, rise back up and release your arms.